Warrant Officer Leslie McGarr, British Army, World War II. Yes, I said British Army. Folks, I have a rare interview here. Back in 2007, I was in Canada producing my first film with Canadian World War II veterans, and we premiered it in Toronto, Canada. It's called Lest They Be Forgotten Canada. And I met Les McGarr, a great man. I love his accent. You're going to love this story. I just listened to it before I turned the camera on. It's so powerful. He's featured in my film, Lest They Be Forgotten Canada, and with about 40 other World War II veterans from Canada. They're almost all, probably all gone now, just like in the United States. But Les was conscripted in 1939, British Canadian, served in the British Army with the King's Own Royal Border Regiment. That's a mouthful. King's Own Royal Border Regiment. Infamous outfit formed back in the late 1800s. And they fought in India against the Japanese. Part of the war I didn't even know about. In 1944, the Japanese invaded India at Infal and Kohima. I think I said that right. Infal and Kohima. And the British defeated them. And if they wouldn't, the Japanese probably would have went into India, and who knows what else they would have done. So a part of history that nobody really knows about, and you're going to learn it here. This is an educational channel. Let's look at it like that. The history it provides and the education for our students, for our kids, for even the adults. I'm learning so much as I continue to feature these stories. I want to thank Richard Britton, before I forget, for making it possible for you to hear Les's story. Richard, thank you. First time working with you, sir. I salute you. Thank you for your patriotism, your faith in our God, and just your support of this work and our veterans in general. So Richard, thank you. I hope to work with you again. God bless you, sir. But folks, let's just honor Les right now. This is such a wonderful story. I was in Toronto, like I said, interviewed him, and I love the way the Canadians salute. It's a little different than the U.S., but it's just wonderful to see him salute at the end. So, but I'm trying to think. I think that's about. Oh, okay. Combat. Some of the most amazing combat stories I've heard from Les. Again, fought with the British Army, and he was wounded in a bayonet attack. He was actually like a sergeant major with that Class 1 Warrant 1 officer rating. He's like a sergeant major in the American troops. But he was wounded hand-to-hand combat, folks. He talks about it. Hand-to-hand combat. Was wounded in the wrist, I believe. Stepped on a landmine, injured his ankle. Walks with a cane at the time of this interview. We lost Les in 2012, so it's been about 12 years ago. We lost him about the age of 93, 94, somewhere in there. Very involved with the Canadian Royal Legion, and by the way, I'm an honorary member of the Canadian Royal Legion, the American Legion, the United States, and the VFW. So, but learning a lot about these things. So this is a great interview. I'm happy to share it with you here, Voices of History YouTube channel, and it'll be on my Voices of History radio channel. And if you haven't tuned into that, it's so wonderful. There's apps in the app stores, or you can go to larrycapetto.com, and there's many other ways to listen to it. But I just am really happy to feature his story. So I'm going to start featuring more Canadian stories, by the way, because I've got many of them, and they're just as good as the American stories. They need to be remembered, lest they be forgotten. That's the name of my documentary series. If we don't remember, we're going to forget. An act of remembrance is an act of honor. God bless you. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing, and I will talk to you on my next broadcast. Enjoy Les McGarr's interview. Went into the military?
I went in 1939.
Okay, now were you a Canadian? Were you fighting for Canada or Britain?
No, I was in the British Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
1939.
Yeah.
Did you join, or were you drafted, or what?
I was conscripted.
Conscripted, okay. So you didn't really have a choice then, did you?
No.
And were you wanting to serve your country then,
Well,
back then?
I was called up. I didn't renege. I said to my dad, if I've got to go, I didn't argue.
And were a lot of young men being
Oh yeah,
going
yep.
in the military?
Well,
then?
yeah, no, there's a lot of young men from my town. It's only a small town, and there were a lot of young men. We all went together on the train down to the depot.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Germany at that time.
Well, I don't know nothing about Germany.
But was Germany threatening to take over
Yeah.
Britain?
Well, yeah, but I mean, a lot of people say to me, "Can you tell me about the European theatre of war?" I said, "I can't, sir, because I didn't serve in that. I was serving in India and Burma."
Sure. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But obviously, though, at that time, were the Germans threatening India and Burma? I mean,
Well, no, but the Japanese were.
Japanese.
See,
Yeah.
see the Japanese coming from the top through Singapore and that way.
But how did you feel very patriotic? You wanted to serve your country?
I said, if I've got to go and serve the country, I'll serve the country. My father was in the First World War, so I know what it was like.
So now were there a lot of Brits fighting over in Burma? And
Oh, yeah. A lot of British regiments.
yeah. Which regiment were you with?
I was with the King's Own Royal Border Regiment.
Okay. And what was your job in the military?
I was just an infantryman.
Infantry. Well,
Yeah.
that's very important. And
Yeah.
what was your rank?
My rank when I came out was a warrant officer class 1.
Class 1?
Yeah,
So I would just put Class 1?
yeah,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you're with the British Army.
yeah.
What kind of weapon did you carry?
I was trained on brain gun, machine guns, small arms, all that.
And you were pretty young at that time.
Oh yeah,
Had you ever been in combat before?
no.
Did you have combat over there?
We had combat over there, and as I say, and it says on one of those things there, Imphal and Kohima was the biggest 2 battles there were. If those 2 places had fell, the Japanese would have been right into India, taking India over.
So you're fighting the Japanese.
Yeah.
Were there a lot of you over there though, fighting from Britain?
Oh yes. Yes.
Were you fighting with the Americans or before the Americans?
Well, the Americans didn't come in really till nearly the end of the war, and they come in through the top end, and that.
What was the hardest part of your job?
My hardest part of the job was taking. I didn't hold the rank at the time, but I was a senior man in my division, and I was told to take a patrol out. I took 16 men on the patrol, and we patrolled looking for Japanese and reporting back. And out of all the patrols I did, I never lost one man. I wouldn't ask a man to do what I wouldn't do myself. I wouldn't put a man's life on the line unless I did it myself. No. My father was very strict. He only spoke once, but if you did what you were told, you're rewarded. And he was an ex-major in the First World War.
Tell me about now. You were like a private. Is that what a Class 1 is? Like a private?
No, a warrant officer class 1 is equivalent to an RSM or a regimental sergeant major.
Oh,
Yeah.
so were you? Did you have command of a group of people?
Yeah. Yeah, I was responsible for them.
What was the toughest battle you ever got into, or skirmish, or whatever?
Well, I think the toughest battle was at Imphal, myself.
Okay. Can you tell me what happened there and what
Well,
you did?
it was hand-to-hand fighting.
Hand to hand?
Yeah,
With bayonets?
yeah. And if the Japanese took over, they'd have been right into India, and that would have been the end of the. They'd have took control. Because, I mean, the Japanese, they're very funny people. Now, I signed on to stay in Burma extra year, which was called mopping up operations. We had to get the Japanese out, because they didn't believe the war was over.
Yeah.
And we didn't want them staying there and molesting the villagers and that.
How many months were you in combat?
I was in Burma 2.5 years altogether.
So we were fighting over there for 2.5 years?
Yeah, well, off and on, you know.
Were Canadians over there too?
No, there's only Canadian people over there I met was the Canadian Air Force, and they dropped supplies for us. They flew DC-3s and the old DCs. They dropped what they flew over the hump, and there no machine guns on planes or nothing. They dropped the supplies for us. That's the only way we could get supplies. With no transportation, the only thing we had was mules that carried our stuff. With no jeeps, no nothing.
Are there many men alive today that fought with you over there?
Well, as far as I know, there might be some, but I couldn't tell you right off, to tell you the truth.
Did you lose many of your men in combat?
Yeah, I lost men.
Can you tell me what happened and where you were at the time?
Well, one man who was in charge of the 3-inch mortars, and he was supposed to fire mortars every hour through the night, and he ran out of ammunition. Instead of sending his man to get ammunition, he didn't, and the Japanese counterattacked, and they got killed.
So at the time, how do you feel when you lose your men?
Well, when you lose a man, you're losing a buddy, a friend, I say, and that. But, you know, it's very difficult to explain sometimes. Some people don't like talking about it, but I don't mind talking about it and that, but I talk to children, I go to the schools and talk to children, and I went to one school one time here in the Tobago, and I said to the teacher, I said, "Where's Southeast Asia?" He said, "I don't know," he said. I said, "You're a teacher and you don't know where Southeast Asia is?" And a little boy in the front put his hand up, he said, "Sir." So I said, "Yeah." He said, "I know what it is." And he went right up to the board and he pointed right to it, right away. Now I said, "Look, what do you think we're paying you your salary for? If you don't know this, you're supposed to learn the history."
Yeah.
See, no. I live in an apartment there at Burnethorpe, and I have some young children in there. And today when I was coming out, a lot of them were going out with the birds, and they come and ask, say, "Where are you going, Mr. Les?" I said, "I'm going to make TV." He said, "Oh, you're going to be on TV?" "Yeah, maybe." I said, "So, well, we'll look for it." You know, they're good kids.
Sure. You were in Burma fighting many months in combat.
Yeah.
Tell me some more about your combat experience and what type of combat you had. Was it, you said hand to hand, but if you can describe that or just any of the other combat that you have.
It was a bayonet, you know, on bayonet and that.
But tell me, describe how you get to the point where you have to use a bayonet versus just shoot a rifle.
If you if somebody comes at you with a bayonet, you're going to defend yourself. We had to. It's either you kill him or he kills you. That's what went through your mind at the time. You know, as the old saying is, shoot first and ask questions after.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you ever scared in combat? I mean.
Yep. I was wounded in the wrist here, bayonet wound there, right there, and on my left ankle here. See?
That happened in combat?
Yeah, I have a pin and plate in there.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That's why I walk with the cane.
Yeah. So that came because of the war then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, a lot of people don't realise, as I say, now I'm under a specialist at Mississauga Hospital here, and he's a Chinese doctor, Dr. Chan. 2 years ago, I had a seizure, and the next door neighbour found me. He phoned the ambulance, they took me right to the hospital. If I hadn't been there within 2 hours, I'd have been dead. And Dr. Chan says today, I go to him every year, and he said, Mr. McGarr, he said, I'm very pleased with the results and all that. He said, you've come through it. He said, and you people went through a lot for us. He said, I wouldn't be in this country if it hadn't been for you people. He said, they don't realise what the veterans do.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm doing this project, because people don't realise it.
Yep. No, and he said, I mightn't have been here, my wife mightn't have been here, he said, if it hadn't been for you guys. And he's quite all for the veterans. He said, if I can help a veteran, I'll help him.
That's good.
He said, you're a veteran. He said to, like, the lady that takes me, Brenda Nash, she's ex-president of our club. She takes me and he said, he kids Brenda, he said, is this one of your boyfriends? Brenda said, one of them. He said, how many have you got? You know, and that. But I mean, when sometimes I go to bed at night, sometimes I can't sleep, you know, and things come back in my mind, you know.
Well, what does it seem like a long time ago or like yesterday sometimes?
Well, no, a long time ago, you know, and that. But you try and realise. I say, I'm not bigamist. I've let bygones be bygones. When people say to me, "Are you bigamist against Japanese?" I said, I let bygones be bygones. The war is over. They've got to make a living, same as me.
That's right. So thinking back on those days, though, I guess I've talked to a lot of combat veterans, almost 450 of them in 4 years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you some questions about the combat that you had. I'm not trying to get into the blood and the gore, but just how that changed you as a young man and how you got through the combat. And I am curious what kind of combat you had. Yeah.
I got through combat. I'm not a religious man, but my mother used to say, it costs nothing to say a prayer. I used to say a prayer every day. And that. And I think that's what the good Lord brought me through. And when I come home, my dad said, son, he said, thank the Lord you're home.
That's important. Yeah.
Yep. No, I mean, lots of people don't realise what you go through. Some people still have nightmares today. You know, reaction of different things that happened during the war and that. But
so when you're in combat, are you afraid, or maybe?
well, you're afraid, but you can't be that afraid. If he attacks you, you've got to attack him. He'll either kill you or you kill him. That's the way it goes. I mean, the Japanese, you didn't know where they were. They pop up like that. Japanese, you had underground tunnels and everything all underground. You never know where they were. They set booby trap and you couldn't see them.
Yeah, couldn't see them.
They set a booby trap here as soon as one of your hairs on his head.
Huh.
You had to have your eyes in the sky and on the floor all the time. As I used to say to my men, especially the pointment, what they call the pointment, keep your eyes on the ground and in the air. Booby traps, snipers.
What kind of orders would you give your men in situations? What would you have them do?
Well, I used to say, when I was taking them out, I used to say, now, I'm going to put so-and-so at point. When he gives you a certain signal with his hand, you do it. Don't ignore it. So you put a hand up like that means stop. You go like that means get to both sides. No, but
Did you have to? You said you lost some men. Did you lose a few or a lot of men, or?
No. I think I lost about 4 men. That's all. All the time I was in charge of them, and that. But some men were foolish. They wouldn't take no notice of what you were saying, and I used to say to them, if you don't take no notice, that's your lookout, not mine. Don't blame me. If you can't obey orders, then that's it. No, that's the only way. That's the only way they learn.
That is, isn't it, huh?
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna move this light back just a little bit here, Les.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's the only way they learn.
You mentioned it's a matter of survival in combat, them or
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It is. You see, that as my dad used to say to me, shoot first, ask questions after. Because if you're not, you, boom, that's it, game over.
As a soldier, are you ready to die for your country if you have to?
Well, yes. If there was another war and I wasn't accepted to go in the front line, I'd like to, do something like ammunition or small arms or something like that. I'm doing the country a turn. Well, my younger brother was called up in the army. He was in the army 2 weeks. He was thrown out because it was a brass moulder in the shipyards. He made the propellers. And he was getting ready one Saturday night to go out with the boys, and the orderly sergeant come to me and said, "You, Cecil McGarr, you wanted the CO, weren't you?" He said, "What have I done?" He thought he'd done something wrong. went to CO. They said, CO looked at his sheet, said, "You're a brass moulder in the shipyard." He said, "Yeah." He said, "You're diverted, go home." He was exempt because he was doing important job. And he went home and he started to cry. My dad said, "It's no good crying, son." He said, "The government says you're doing this important job. You're keeping the ships going, repair." He said, "That's it." Well, when I come home and he saw my medals, and he got 2 medals. He got the War Medal and the Defence Medal. And it was only in 2 weeks. But my dad said, "You were entitled to them, you got them."
Can you describe to me when you were wounded with the bayonet, where were you, and tell me what happened?
Well, we were in a slit trench, and the Japanese were supposed to come towards us, and they made a counterattack, and they come in behind, and I had my hand up like that. It struck me there, but it struck me, and no sooner he struck me, I had a revolver, and I fired 3 shots into him. I killed him outright. The guy next to me said, "You killed the guy, Les." I said, "I know I killed him." I said, "He tried to kill me. And you do the same." You know, things, people come out with funny ideas, you know. You shouldn't do this. I said, sometimes you've got to break the rule. And that.
What about with your foot? What happened? Tell me what
Well,
happened.
that was a landmine.
Tell me where you were and what happened.
That was just outside Coimbra. And I just touched the landmine like that, and a big Irish guy, took a leap at me and knocked me right flying. He got hit himself in the legs. But he saved my life, and he saved his own life, and saved the lives of other guys. No, it was a big Irish guy, about 6'6", well-built guy he was.
Well, combat is tough.
Combat, nobody realises what a combat soldier does. He thinks a combat soldier takes it easy all the time. He doesn't. His mind's got to be alert all the time. You've got to be thinking. Otherwise, if you don't, that's it. Game over. No, I mean, I've seen when I was in the Pacific. No, I've seen American soldiers laying around smoking, drinking beer. I often told them, I said, "I'm in the British Army, attached to you," I said, "but I said, I don't like the way you're carrying on." I said, "You got your dog tags," I said, "the metal dog tags, the sun shines on that, it can be seen for miles. You're smoking cigars, you can see that for miles and smell the smoke." And one guy said, "Oh, you're full of garbage." I said, "Am I?" You know what? 10 minutes after, he was dead. Sniper.
It's amazing.
Yeah. No, I said, you've got to have eyes in the back of your head.
Boy, that's quite a story. Hey, do you think that young Canadians today are forgetting about what happened or know anything about what happened in World War II?
Well, no, the young ones nowadays, I think they don't learn enough at schools or universities about what war is about.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they know that much, do they? They're not learning it.
No. But I mean, young guys come up to me and say, "Les, I want to join the cadets." I said, "You want to join the cadets? Okay, here." And I say, "Here, go and see this man." There you go.
Yeah.
And we have the 48 Islanders cadets at our club. We give them a room there, and that's their room. They have lectures there and everything.
Hold on 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
I really would like to know what you think about how important is it to keep the military strong today? And
Well, my opinion, the people we've got in the Parliament right now, the Prime Minister and that other one, McGinty, I don't think they've seen a hungry bullet fired, myself. And then they're trying to tell us how to run the country. They've had no experience, military experience. They're putting people in, now they're putting ladies in charge of military. What do they know? They've never been in the military. I say the only thing they know is the theory side of it. They don't know the practical side of it, which is important. Even to a tradesman, you've got to know the theory and the practical side of things. Same as you, this military, you've got to know what you're doing. Eh? I wouldn't know what to do. No.
that's a good point. Yes.
Yeah. I might know the theory side of it, but doing the practical side, that's it.
Now, you're a Canadian citizen?
I am now, yes. Yeah. But, see, a lot of people say to me, "Les, I'd like to do this, I like that." I said, "I'm willing to learn you if you're willing to listen. But if not willing to listen, you're wasting my time, you're wasting your time." Yeah. No.
What do you think Canadians should remember about World War II?
Well, there's a lot of Canadians fought in Britain during the last war. I do know that. And because there were a lot of them stationed not far from where I live. I lived in north of England myself. And we had two big prisoner of war camps where I live. One for officers and one for the privates. And they were allowed to work on the farms and they were paid so much. And they got the food. That's what they did. And a lot of them stayed behind after the war. Because they liked it on the farm. And they stayed. I know two German people now that have own farms in where I live. And they're just prisoner of war. But they worked hard and saved the money and bought the property and that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not bigoted against anybody. Everybody's got to make a living.
Yeah. Les, can you tell me anything else about combat or another story maybe you had? Were there big? Did you get in any big battles, or was it more small things?
No. Well, as I say, Kohima and Imphal were the two biggest battles there was. If those two places had fell, the Japanese had been right into India.
But what about your involvement? And did you guys attack, or what happened?
Yep, I was attacked at the renege and fight back. Either fight back or get killed. That's it. That's all he could do. And we used to, you were given certain orders to do. You look after that point, look after that point. You had to do it. And you had to keep your eyes open all the time. Even at night, one man would be awake looking, the other man would be having a few sleep, you know. Then, say you had 2 hours on and 4 off. That was it.
Were you guys advancing up, or were you
Oh yeah,
holding a line, or what?
advancing all the time. Yep. We'd take a certain point over, we'd keep it. Then the next ones behind us, they come up and take that, and then we'd advance again, forward. Always. And you didn't stay more than a week in one place. Always kept moving.
Yeah.
So the Japanese wouldn't find out. No.
Was it a good time of your life, or was it a bad time in World War
Well,
II?
it was a good time, but I mean, you might grumble. It's no good grumbling. Hey, I never saw fresh meat for 2 years. I lived on bully beef, whatever there was. I lived on peanuts out the ground. Berries, because we taught it. When I went to Ceylon in 1943, that's where we did all the jungle training. And that, you know, the bridge on the River Kwai, a lot of people think that was made in Burma. It wasn't. It was made in Senalaika, in the botanical gardens. Because I was there, I know. Because I had to take Gold Race Course, which was the camp for the private soldiers, and Colombo College, which was the headquarters, Mountbatten's headquarters, in 1943. And look at the country now. It was a beautiful country when I was there. Everybody, they're mostly Dutch people, all of them. Yeah.
Les, are you proud that you're a World War II veteran?
Eh?
Are you proud to be a veteran?
Sure. I'm proud to be a veteran. I have the privilege from my Legion. I laid a cross for the unknown soldier. I've laid that now for 14 years at the cenotaph here. And Bill will tell it, I took over from one guy, Bert Morrison, and he was an RAF guy. And Bert was smart as like that. And he said to me, before he died, he said, Les, if anything happens to me, you've got my job. I said, well, you better tell the President. So he told the President, and the President said, Les, it's your job. You're the senior man, and that. Same when I first joined the Legion. Bill Watts was the sergeant at arms, and he was the guy who smoked a cigar all the time. Quite a comical guy. He said to me, "You're colour guard." I said, "Let me get my feet wet." You know, let me get to know everybody. Well, I said, "You're colour guard." So I've done colour guard, everything. I looked after the property for the Legion at the old place. Repair work, got contractors in and all that. And a lot of people say, "Don't know how you do it." I said, "I know my trade," I said, and that's it. As one guy said to him, was complaining, he said, "You shouldn't be doing this." I said, I'm licensed to do it. I wouldn't be doing it if I'm not licensed. I'm a licensed journeyman electrician. I can go anywhere in Ontario. And I spent 2 years in Nome, Alaska, running power plants for the American Air Force, for the radar and all that equipment for them. So I've been around Canada a little bit.
Do you think it's important that we record these stories like we're doing and share them with our
Well,
kids?
Yes, I do. And I like one program. It's Lord Robinson. He puts war stories on. Now it comes on a Thursday night. It was on Thursday night, and it was the Battle of Britain. You know, that brought back lots of memories. I like a good story. And
Canada was involved in the Battle of Britain.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Can you tell me what the Battle of Britain was?
Well, it was mostly the Germans and the Air Force, the Battle of Britain, and the buzz bombs and all that. Because they had a lot of training camps where I live in England. Trained a lot of people there, Air Force and all that.
Brought back a lot of memories, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I live at a place called the English Lake District. We have 7 beautiful freshwater lakes, and you know, you ever heard of Sir Donald Campbell, the speedboat king?
I think so.
Well, that's where he got. 15 miles from where I live, he got killed on Coniston Lake. Yeah.
Were you in Britain when they were bombing?
No, I wouldn't. No, I was overseas.
Can I ask you to give me a salute into the camera? At the end of my interviews, I like to ask the veteran for a salute into the camera.
Yeah.
When I tell you, can you do that for me?
Yeah, I can put my breath on.
Go ahead.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready, right into the camera, Les.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Can you sit back down for the camera? The camera won't go that high.
Yeah.
Okay, just give me a second here. Okay, from where you're at, go ahead. Great, thank you. Okay, that was good.